Our task here is to determine the values of this x here from this equation. So the name of this equation is what we are calling a rational equation. If you don't know what a rational equation is, by the way, the full video is on this channel. If you haven't, make sure that you subscribe to that. But the key here is to that is just a fancy word behind a fraction. So if you ever hear the word fraction before, right, so that's just a fancy way. But why exactly this thing is important in the real life? I normally focus in the uses of these things here in the real life, so that it's not just a numbers that we are learning, right? Even though mathematics develop the critical thinkings of any individual participating, well, there are some of the things that you can easily apply them in. So here we have, let's say, half of a bread, right? So this is a bread, half of loaf of bread. This is a bread, right? So plus another half here, 1/2 here. Obviously, any individual consider this is equal to 1, right? So very simple and straightforward. Is that okay? So how did you get that? So that's what, if the number gets let's say something like this, 1 on 2 plus 3 on 4, what is the values of this thing? This thing needs some calculation, right? So you need some procedure. That is why mathematicians develop the way of doing that through systematical way, which has been proved to be true, right? So how do you do that? Assuming we don't know the values of this thing, assuming we don't know, right? So we know that obviously half of something plus another half is going to be equal to 1. But here the key here is that you need to follow some lay down procedures that says that LCM, right? So the least common multiple among those guys that are down here, which is going to be equal to 2. If you don't know how I did, I'll just comment how. All right, so once I have my 2 here, I know that this 2 here can be divided by these 2 to be 1, and then so let me do the calculation here for you. I believe most of you know how to do that, but why am I doing this thing here, right? So in order to solve this problem here, you must understand the basics. So I believe everybody, almost everybody watching this channel right now know how to deal with this simple fraction here. So the key here is to convert that idea from here in solving something like this. Is okay? That is very simple, right? So now what will happen if this guy here is missing? The one on top of the first half here is missing. How are you going to do that? You need to determine the values of the x here in order for you to solve your equation, right? So without wasting time, let's dive into this question and see how to do about it. As I said earlier on, the first step here is to make sure that you find the least common multiple, right? So because this is a fraction, okay, this is a fraction, this is a fraction, this is a fraction, so you are going to find the least common multiple of this guy here, which obviously is going to be 6. If you don't know how to find the least common multiple, make sure that you once again comment in the comment section. But the whole idea here is to find the multiples of this guy here. You see this guy here, which is, that's going to be 3, 6, 9, that should be 12, and so on and so forth. So what about this? Begin with 6, we have 12, 18. These are the multiples. So the least, the common, right, the smallest among these two people here, of course that is going to be 6, right? Have you seen? The smallest common numbers among these two people here is going to be 6. Someone may be asking, what about the x here? So because the x is also part of the journey, right? So that is why we cannot replace this thing by any number. So we just leave it as it is. That is going to be 6x. Are you okay? Whatever the variable is, whatever the letter is, keep it as it is. Right? Okay, perfect. You don't need to force yourself and replace that by any number. So you have the 6x. With the LCM, what do you do? That was at the beginning of the demonstrated on how to deal with that simple fraction here. So what do you do here? What do you do here? So once we have everything here, so our LCM is going to be 6 of x here. So now the key here is to make, someone may choose to solve this one first, and then when you're done, you come and solve this one first. We don't care about whichever method you want to go about. So all that we are going to do here is that, yeah, we are going to use this guy 6x here, which is our least common multiple, to multiply everybody here. What I mean by everybody, this is the first, this is the second person, and then this is the third person. Is that okay? Okay, so perfect. Now we have this x, 5x, 5 on x, that's the multiplier by 6x, right? and then minus, that is 6x, multiply by, that's the 5 on 6x, 6, right? 5 on 6. That's going to be 6x multiplied by 5 on 3. Are you there? So the whole idea is to get to something that we normally call a linear equation. Linear equation here is something very straightforward. I say x is equal to 0 or s plus 1 equal to 2. You solve this, you have your s to be equal to 1, right? So by subtracting 1 from both sides of the equation, or by taking this guy to the other side. You see, all these things are steps, right? If you know how to cook rice, there's a step in preparing that, right? Rice. Those of you who don't know rice, maybe if you know how to cook any food in your local, community or a country, that you have to follow down a lay down steps for you to arrive at whatever you are looking for. The same idea comes to the mathematics. So if you want to solve something, you have to follow the lay down procedure that have been proved to be true, right? Okay, so following that, we have the whole idea is to make sure that we are reaching the linear equation, right? So something like this. So here you can see that this x here will cancel this x. Okay, they cancel out, or maybe you can choose to multiply the top one when you are done, then you cancel out whichever way you want to go about it. You are free to do that. Is that okay? Provided that you are not restricted, and then you arrive at the same answer. What about this? This is also cancel. This is here. I have 3 here. We'll go into this is how many times 2, right? So 6 divided by 3, that is going to be 2. So this is the whole idea of multiplying through by the least or common multiple among any number that you are having at the denominator. Remember, it's the denominator. Those guys at the down here is what we are finding the least common multiple. No, those guys are at the top. Is that okay? So perfect. What remains here? We have 6 multiplied by 5. That's going to be 30. So minus this multiplied by that. This one cancel out. We have minus 5x. Be very careful when you're dealing with the negative numbers, right? So this is a negative. Just maintain it as it is. We have this guy. This one cancel out. So we are left it off. Is that 5x? Yeah, so that's going to be 5x. Are you there? Okay, so here what are we going to do here? So here is the whole thing. Here we have that 30 minus 5x, that is equal to 5x. So you group or you bring all the 5x into one side of the equation, right? So because all the I don't know, one familiar thing, this is a black white board marker. If you have a red, so all the black should go to one side, all the red should go to one side. Is that okay? So assuming this is the black one, so this black one is negative 5x. So once you cross this barrier here, this is what we are calling what the barrier, and the equal to sign here is what we are calling the barrier. So once you cross this barrier, your sign has to change. Is that okay? It means that you are now in new uniform. So you have 30. That's going to be 5x. This 5x here, and this guy comes to be a positive, right? Okay, so perfect. So here you have if you are getting some value from this video and then you haven't subscribed, make sure that you subscribe to the channel for content like this. And then if you want us to upload some of the interested topics that you are finding difficult, just try and comment in the comment section below, right? So this is going to be dealing with variables like this. You just need to add the numbers because these guys here are the same. 5 mangoes plus 3 mangoes is equal to 8 mangoes, right? So 5 oranges plus 3 oranges is going to be 3 oranges. So that's why the symbols are the same here. You just need to focus on the numbers. So this guy plus this one, that's going to be 10x, right? Is this thing okay? So somebody should alert me on this, and that's going to be 10x. So we are going to divide everywhere by this is by 10, and then divide this one by 10, right? So you have 30. So this guy is going to be 3, right? So 3 is equal to this one cancel, this cancel, that to remain 3. So s is equal to 3, right? So you have to make sure that you cross check and check if everything is intact, right? Are you getting the point? So make sure that you cross check. If there's a mistake on that, just alert me in the comment section below. If you're having some different answers, don't hesitate to comment in the comment section below. For those of you who wanted to say that there's a mistake in this thing, congratulations for what? For following up, right? So where is the mistake? These are some of the common mistakes that students have been doing. If you intentionally solve the problem, this way. So once you are done, you make sure that you go through everything to verify if everything's intact. Look at something here, this line here. Once we cancel this 6 divided by 10, remaining 2. So the 2 multiplied by 5 here, that should be 10, not 5. All right, so here tends to be 10. All right, so check on this thing here. So make sure that you follow your numbers carefully. All right, this is very, very important. So now, what is the values of the x in the comment section below? Let me hear from you in the comment section below. But this is not correct. Is that okay? All right, perfect.